spicy. I'm not a spicy person.
Hello and welcome to Spotlight Indie. I'm Fraser Armitage, your host, part-time robot, full-time nerd, and joining me as ever is HL Tinsley. Holly, how's it going? How are you doing?
It's going well. I am generally okay.
That is great. I'm glad that you are still generally okay. I love that you've put that tag in from last time. That's amazing. Holly, so for everybody who is tuning in, if you go back to previous videos, you'll see that Holly is in need of little tags underneath her name. So just keep them coming in the comments. At the minute, we've got her status generally okay, but we need more ideas for Holly, because we're brainstorming some stuff for Holly for that. So, last week as well, we gave you some clues as to who was joining us this week. So we hope that you managed to figure it out. I think that it was pretty obvious. It is the legendary, amazing fantasy author, J.E. Hannaford. Jenny, how's it going?
Good. Rather embarrassed after that big up. Thank you.
It's exciting to have you with us and to chat about you and your writing and your books and all these kinds of good stuff. And it's really, really cool. Yeah, thank you for being a part of Spotlight Indie. It's cool. Let's start by just talking about some good news, because we love good news here on Spotlight Indie, and we like to shout about it. Jenny, have you got some good news about how your writing's going or anything like that you can share with us?
Oh, well, I do know that I think Broken Binding edition pretty much almost sold out within a couple of weeks, which was amazing, of Gates of Sorrow and Gates of Hope. There's a few stragglers left, but not loads. That was incredibly exciting, actually, going up there as an indie, but still going into that room and to the distribution and sitting there and signing all the hundreds of books on the big pallets. And it was like, oh. So that was very, very exciting. So that was an amazing launch. They've pretty much gone, and I'm seeing people opening them and getting messages of people's books, and everyone's looking for the books with the 2 wrens in the signature, or the 2 that have got boats in, or they're looking for the hidden extras that I tucked in amongst the 500 odd books. There are hidden extras. I haven't seen any yet, so I don't know who's got them, but they're out there somewhere. And obviously, Gates of Hope is a SPFBO finalist, which still absolutely blows my mind. And it's not new news because that's kind of late September, early October, but that's still amazing. Especially given I nearly didn't enter it. So,
oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. It was ready last year and I didn't enter it. And I held off. And then this year I got brave and decided I would put it in. And Gates of Sorrow is not Gates of Sorrow. The last book, which is under the working title of The Watcher's Gates, is just past the 10,000 word mark. So it is in progress. We are slowly but surely dragging our way through the early winter into writing.
Oh, that's great news. That's so exciting. So that's great news about books that you got out there. Great news about books on the horizon. That's really exciting stuff, Jenny. How does it feel to have like a Broken Binding, like that edition and everything like that? Is it what was your feelings like when you like held it for the first time?
It's amazing because obviously I've done special editions of Broken Binding for the Skin and the Pact previously. But they were still my editions that I then tweaked, and they then bought that stock off me. Whereas this was them going, oh, we're doing a new cover for it. And we're going to put end papers in, and oh, we'll spray the edges too. And have you got any thoughts for this? And have you got any thoughts for that? And putting the 2 extra chapters in as well, which is quite exciting because one of them has never been, it's been out there, but it's never been with the series. And the other one, only my editor has read before I put it in the book. So none of my normal beta readers, nobody had read it apart from my editor before it went in, which is a mini prologue, an extra scene in the start of Gates of Sorrow. And so the excitement of actually seeing all of that kind of together was really good, and seeing Latha's story where it belonged at the back of Gates of Hope as kind of part of it, and they're just so pretty, and I don't have them with me because they're on the other side of my lounge, right the way over there, on the shelves in front of the sofa, so I can look at them while I'm sitting there watching TV. My husband's watching TV, and I'm just admiring my books. Yeah.
As you should, the way it should be.
Absolutely.
There's those ones. Those two are next to my Flame Tree Press anthology, the really shiny, sparkly ones. So they're next to my one that's in there. So there's like a row of super shiny books in front of the TV. That's just kind of like, you can watch the TV. I'll watch my books. I don't do a lot, but they look nice.
What you need to do is have all of your books that shiny so that you can like build it slowly, just like creep in on the TV until eventually everyone's just watching the books. That would be
When we bought
perfect.
that unit, I was told there'd be no books on the unit. And the first one that went on there was Alicia Wanstall Burke's Monster Chunk, because I realised it wasn't going to fit over here. I'm pointing at them, and then I've got this camera issue.
There they
Won't fit
are.
over there. And so it went over there to start with. But yeah, I am building books. My SPFBO collection of all the other finalists from this year I have got, but I have got them safely in a box, so nothing happens to them, and they get out to be photographed and read, and then they're going back in a safe box. They stay really secure and looked after at the moment because there's not enough room on my shelves, and I don't want them battered.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you built the confidence to like put it in for SPFBO. That is.
I so nearly didn't because of the whole timing issue the year before. With it filling in 45 minutes, it literally filled. I teach. I started my lesson. They'd gone before I'd even finished my lesson. The idea of being able to enter when I got home was just it. I'd kind of said, oh, if there's a space when I get home, I'll put it in. There wasn't a space, so there's nothing I could do. And a couple of friends said, oh no, you really should put it in. We'll enter it for you. We'll put the files in for you if you're in work. And they kind of kept saying, we'll put it in. We'll put the files in for you. And I kind of felt, I got to the point where I was like, if I don't do this, these friends are going to do it anyway. So I braved up, and obviously it was the big lottery, wasn't it? So, and then I was kind of like, well, if it doesn't go through the lottery, it's clearly never meant to be in it. So it will never get entered again. And it made it through the lottery. So yeah.
Oh, that's such a good job. It made it through. I'm so happy for you. And as well, it just goes to show like having a good community around you, it makes such a difference, right?
It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Your previous guest is one of those who was threatening to put it in and telling me how that they would help put it in.
Yeah, Alex can be very very insistent in those kinds of things. Yeah, he's a good egg, is Alex. Yeah, for sure.
Alex reads my stuff first. Everything I write, he's my first reader, actually.
Okay.
So, and I'm one of his.
Yeah,
so
that's really cool.
he believed in it when I wasn't sure if I was even going to re-edit it. He was like, "Yeah."
I think you always need that one person, don't you, that just believes in what you're trying to do and just really gets what you're trying to say with your story.
And is willing to look at those first drafts forgivingly when they're rough and you know there's issues, but you just need to know that the bones are there. Yeah. And you can go away and actually work with it rather than, as you say, that gets you and gets where you're going. So obviously he's brilliant with that, and I'm very lucky as well that I've got another reader who will trudge through my poor grammar when I have missed a chapter with spell check when I've sent it in that version, and just ignore it and go, actually, yeah, this bit of the story's good, this bit needs a bit more, this bit maybe it slows down a bit too much. And they're really good at, then I can go into those edits and go, right, I know where I need to tie this up to then go off. My editor used to do a lot of that, but we realized that didn't really work because she knew the stories too well before she edited them.
Yeah, I think that can be an issue, can't it? I think because you naturally you stop seeing the story the way it's written, don't you? And you start seeing it the way that you know it's meant to be in your head. So yeah, that's a good point, I think.
Yeah.
There was an incident where for 5 days, copies of The Skin, the very first copies, were available, had a line in them that referred to a scene that had been deleted. It's not massively obvious, but it is there. And so I think there's about 30 of those copies in circulation that were hard copies that went out before I realised that this had happened.
It's one of those things as well. I think it always tends to be something that most people probably wouldn't notice, but because you know it's there, it drives you crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I do still have some of those copies here. So if anyone really wants to find the very first the very first one that has an extra hidden line in, I do have them.
That's the one I want on my shelf, Jenny. It's the one with the missing line. It's great.
The one with the extra line. There was a whole scene where Theo was party to a conversation, and then we cut it because we felt it was better that he wasn't. And then we both forgot that we'd cut it in that last pass, and so the line referring to the scene later in the chapter remained.
It's so easily done, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
and that was the moment where my editor and I stopped sharing any notes and world building before she sees the final pass.
Good plan. So we've covered a lot of good news there. I mean, one of the big good bits of news is that we all love Alex. So that's a great bit of news, right?
That is the best bit of news.
The best news. Yeah.
Alex is awesome.
Alex is awesome. Holly, you've been looking for good news in the community as well. So tell us what you've been able to find and what you've been able to dig up for this edition of Good News Stories.
I have been on the hunt for some good news. I think, first of all, the most good news that I have to bring this week is the fact that by the time this comes out, it will be December, which means I can legitimately get away with wearing this amazing dinosaur Christmas jumper.
That is amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, that's my good news. Not writer related, but it is dinosaur related, so we'll count it. I put out a call to arms on social media last night, asking indie authors to share any of their good news, their positive stories, things that they're proud about, milestones, and oh my, did they ever come through. Well done, indie author community. You are awesome. So let's see what we have got. Number one, we have got a couple of book launches going on this month and next month. Good news from Susanna Imaginario. Her new novella, Asterius, is releasing in December. I was actually having a little look at this earlier on, and it looks so awesome. I know that Susanna does a lot that is sort of steeped in mythology. So this one, I believe, is to do with the Minotaurs and labyrinths. Looks absolutely awesome. Our good friend, Mr. Tim Hardy, has submitted some good news. He submitted the fact that he's finally managed to format his novel to get it to fit the right size, which in and of itself is great news. But not quite so good news as the fact that his series is now finished. So the Brotherhood of the Eagle series is now completed. Amazing work by Tim. I know he's worked so hard on that. We were together in the SPFBO 7, and it is a great series if you haven't checked it out. Have you guys picked it up yet at all?
I think the first one's on my Kindle.
So good. So worth a read.
I love Tim. I love Tim's books. I love everything about Tim. Every time we've chatted, he's like this undercover comedian where you think that everything he's saying like makes an awful lot of sense until you stop and think about it, and then it's hilarious. He's amazing, and I love his approach to writing and his approach to the series that he's taken. And yeah, big love for Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, we have a couple of shout outs for Lamia N. Bayan's novel, The Wingspan of Treason, is out now. I had a quick look at this because so many people, when I asked for good news, said you need to mention this book. And the, I don't know if you call it a tagline, but the tagline for it is, truth is a knife, loyalty is a cage, no one is innocent.
Ooh.
That's good.
I've heard really good things about that book, have to be honest. I am seeing a lot of really good things.
Yeah. We had quite a few people mention that one. Another book release, we had a message from Ruby Jones. This is a spicy book alert, so if you like spicy books, this might be for you. It is called Too Hot to Handle. It releases on the 13th of December. Not only is it amazing that she's got a new book coming out, she's also had a really tough year and is just on the mend, and mentioned the fact that she's feeling really good about that. So we are really pleased to share that good news as well.
How spicy are we talking, Holly? Are we talking like tikka masala, vindaloo?
I mean, I don't know, because I think it depends on your tolerance to spice. I mean, I'm very much not a spicy I'm not a spicy person. Well, for me, it would probably be quite strong. But if you're a person who likes spicy books, then it might just be the perfect level of spice. You have check it out and you'll find out.
Do you think it would be too?
That's the answer.
Yes. Do you think it would be too hot to handle? Do you think?
I mean, that's
the promise of the book, right? Yeah.
So it remains to be seen whether it is too hot to handle. But the point is, it is coming out, and it is good news. And stop trying to get me off track, Fraser. I've got a long list to get through. Jenny sat patiently waiting for me to get through this huge list.
It's fine. They're all brilliant, and they all need to be shared. So
Exactly. So we've actually got a short story collection, which we've been told about. Marlena Dutch sent me a message on Blue Sky to say Through the Adder Stone is coming out in December. It is a dark, speculative short story collection. Apparently it's been a really amazing project to be a part of with loads of cool authors. So go and check that out. Luke Tarzian, House of Muir is coming out in December as well. I know that he's really happy to be releasing that. It's been a long journey to release for him. So we are so happy and so pleased for Luke that it is finally going to be available. Definitely go and check that out. I'm just going to say go and check them all out, because I think Thomas J. Devon's The Dregs, the sequel to The Scroungers, is out as well. I don't know if either of you have read The Scroungers, but if not, it is so good. It is probably one of my favourite reads this year. It's seriously dark. It's grim and gritty, and it's all the stuff I like. Just lots of really bleak stuff, but really good book. And there is fun in there as well. It's not all dark.
You don't exclusively like dark stuff, though, do you, Holly? Unless you count like the dinosaur woolly jumper as very grim and gritty as well, because that wasn't the vibe I was getting from it. But if you think that,
it's got big teeth.
Got big teeth, yeah.
That's true. I stand corrected. Yeah, very dark Christmas jumper. Yeah.
Very, very grim dark. I'm a grim dark reader. I'm not a grim dark person. I'm generally quite a bright, positive person. I'm generally okay. But I digress. A couple more to get through. Daily Downing has messaged to say that they are releasing the 4th book in their series, which is a really big milestone for them. Didn't actually send the details of the series, so if you are watching this, please let us know so we can put the links in below for you. We also had Vanessa Ritchie Thode has sent us a message to say that they've been nominated for a Sybil Award for middle grade speculative fiction for their book, The Young Necromancer's Guide to Ghosts, which sounds awesome. I'd read that. And last, but definitely by no means least, we also hear from Stephen Arian, whose New York Minute has hit 50 ratings on Goodreads. So amazing ratings milestone with a 4.3 average. I have heard nothing but good things about this book. So we are really pleased to hear about that. And that is the end of my good news. That was an incredible list sent by some incredible authors. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your good news with us. It put a smile on my face and a spring in my step.
Yeah. And congratulations to everybody who has got good news in the indie community. We don't often hear of all of these kinds of stories because we don't have like the Publishers Weekly thing, where all of the good new things getting picked up are out there. So it's great to just shine a spotlight on some of your amazing achievements. And the same goes for you, Jenny, as well. Thank you so much for sharing your good news with us. It's so nice to be able to give you a bit of a spotlight to share all the good stuff that's going on. So thank you.
We all need good news sharing. It helps boost, doesn't it? It helps boost morale. It helps other people helps new people to the indie community see that the community is there and that there are wonderful things happening.
Yeah.
It does. I think this can feel like a very lonely thing to do sometimes, because the events that we have and the meetups we have that are all wonderful, they do feel few and far between sometimes. So I think it's nice to know that actually, we are just a big community and everybody is happy to hear each other's good news.
Yeah, Definitely. So keep on sending your good news stories in. If you've got something that's coming up, send it through to us. We'd be delighted to hear about it, so we can give you a spot and maybe spotlight you in a future episode. The next episode that we're going to enjoy with Jenny, we're going to be finding out a little bit more about her as we roll for insight. But Jenny, for anybody who wants to get in touch with you and say congratulations about all the good stuff that's happening, where can they find you?
I think majority of my time I have slid across to Blue Sky these days. Although I'm still on Twitter, I'm hanging in there purely because there are still some connections through there, but I am pretty much slid across to Blue Sky. I do have a Discord as well, and I think the link to my Discord is probably at the bottom of my website. So my website's jehannaford.com, and my Blue Sky is Hannaford Jenny, just to be awkward. And that's Blue Sky Social.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenny. And yeah, we'll see you all next time on Spotlight Indie.